So the Garfield Gathering is held every 2 years, each time in a different city at a specific hotel. To take part, you book hotel rooms for all the days you want to attend, then you pay extra for every activity you want to take part in. At the start of day 1, I met with Nancy and her team to get my con goodie bag, which came with a name tag, a free Garfield plush, and the event t-shirt, which was an awesome gift for me because I hadn't had a change of clothes in 81 days. The first day of the convention was pretty quiet until the dinner banquet, where we were able to fill up on lasagna and spaghetti while we celebrated Garfield's 46th birthday. Soon enough, the festivities started, with a birthday cake unveiled and Garfield himself arriving to help celebrate and take photos. Raffles and games were also played throughout the night, including Pin the Tail on the Garfield and Garfield Mini Golf. We ended the evening with a game of Garfield Bingo, and I snuck off to my room with a final slice of cake. So the second day of the official Garfield Gathering fan convention was probably the most unassuming, but it was still a lot of fun. This year, the Garf Fest was generally themed around Louisville, Kentucky, although technically our hotel was in southern Indiana. Because of this, our second day was all themed around the Kentucky Derby. Now, as someone born in Lexington, I find Kentucky horse culture pretentious and insufferable, but I still enjoyed seeing all the little displays and games during our banquet. This included an extremely rare Garfield tent. The most unique highlight of the night was probably the Derby hat competition, which featured some amazing designs and technical prowess. This night, my friend Mother Garfield and I both decided to enter the mini raffles, and we both won big. I ended the night with this late 90s portable Garfield phone, and she won this hand-stitched Garfield throw rug.
Like you don't?
Oh my god.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
You look his nose.
Someone put so much love into this. It's so cute.
So part of the whole appeal of the Garfield Fest convention is that you get to go on these little tourist getaways as a group, bonding over the shared experience of checking out all these little tourist traps. But I didn't really want to do that stuff, so I skipped most of the activities. However, on the morning of the 21st, I did join the group for their visit of the Louisville Slugger Factory, where we were given a special tour showing how Louisville makes base bats and stuff. Oh look, the fawns! I don't care if I never come back. After this, I quickly shopped around a costume store nearby and then went into the Fraser Museum, where I got to see their Kentucky Scat display and their Jack Harlow exhibit. Don't know why I listed the same thing twice. Yeah, Louisville has Jack Harlow, Lexington has Cocaine Bear. You tell me which is better.
This is my favorite Kentucky cryptid. If you ever see one of these in the wild, run.
So Friday was the third day of the Garfield fan convention and the final regular night before the big auction on Saturday. That meant this was our final day to obtain and spend Garf Bucks, the special Garf convention currency that we could win by playing things like Garfield Cornhole. I ended up spending my Garf Bucks on this Garfield cell phone toy. While eating, Mother Garfield and I did an art exchange. I drew her 80s Garfield with Norm Nat, and she drew me Garnald McDonfield. Mother Garfield also won the coloring competition for that evening, and her prize was our absolute favorite thing ever, a small gourd painted like Garfield commissioned by Nancy, which we called Gourdfield. Gourdfield is beautiful. Mother Garfield also ended up being the person in the room with the most Garf Bucks at the end of the night, meaning she won these 4 Fire Garfields, which she shared with the rest of us. It was an awesome night. Okay, that's a minute.
Crazy weekend so far. Crazy. Very fun to hang out with these guys and hang out with all the crazy Garf people.
No.
It's been pretty normal. Oh, get out.
So the big thing you need to understand about the Garfield Collectors Convention is that a lot of the most special and expensive activities happen behind closed doors. You see, many collectors of the Garf Fest bring unwanted merchandise in hopes of selling it. Room hopping for these backroom deals was heavily encouraged. I personally think the coziest room was Joe's. She had a ton of really rare stuff for excellent prices, and we all just stood around making jokes and having a good time.
It looks like marijuana.
It's potpourri is what she told me, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
It looks like buds.
It's just so funny. Okay, this is a random thing to say. I've seen Devil Garfield before. I've never seen Devil Garfield wearing pants.
That's what I'm saying. Why does he have pants on?
I don't know why he has pants on.
Joe also hooked me up with one of my personal white whales, the Garfield light switch cover, which can be extremely rare and expensive online, and she sold it to me for $15. But believe it or not, that wasn't my best find of the weekend.
Yo, $20 in the box. I checked the blinking, it all works. $20. Are you kidding
That's
me?
actually bonkers.
20 for the phone in the box.
You ask her?
I told her, I said on eBay these go. She said she went for the 20.
While room hopping at Garfield Fest, I was constantly warned about Barb, a collector who had brought so much stuff that it filled 2 hotel rooms and spilled into the hallway. The word on the street was that Barb not only had brought a lot of rare American merch, but that she also had international connections. I was also warned that Barb's prices were unforgiving, and to prepare myself to spend an arm and a leg. So, what were my main finds in these rooms? 2 Garfield prototype plushies, $37. A vintage blinking Garfield phone in the box, $20. The Sonic and Garfield pack in the box, $15. And an original Garfield's Nightmare banner from Kennywood, $50. On eBay, these items would sell for hundreds of dollars. But in an ecosystem of collectors, these prices were considered steep. So when it comes to the Garfield Gathering fan convention, Saturday is the last day and perhaps the most exciting. We start out in the morning with the Garf swap meet, where some of the collectors have set up tables to sell leftover merch. This is a great place to join in if you have a tight budget because admission is totally free. You don't even have to have a hotel room. I bought a few plushies and this small painting by Catherine Lavender, but my most exciting discovery was at Nancy's table, where I was able to buy my own Garfield. A funny story is that some of these tables were giving away those lead-painted Garfield mugs from McDonald's entirely for free. Those things are annoyingly common, and every Garfield collector has been gifted like 50 of them, so in the Garfield marketplace, they're worth about $0. After this, I hit the road for a bit to visit the South Louisville Antique and Toy Mall, where I saw a few Garfield toys and even some fan art on the wall. And of course, I ended up leaving something of my own. With this, I was now ready for the big auction that night. So the Saturday auction is one of the most infamous traditions at Garfield Fest. As in past years, certain members were known to spend hundreds, if not thousands, on items worth much less. It's an insular ecosystem of excitement where you bid for the thrill of winning no matter the cost. I entered that room with the full intention of proving my worth as a Garfield pay pig. However, initially, only one item really spoke to me. This rare plushie from the Chinese clothing brand Chocolate. And much to my shock, I was able to win it for a very good price.
50 going twice. Sold to Quinton.
As a bit of a twist partway through the auction, I did end up caving on 2 Enesco figures. And to be clear, I do not collect the Enesco stuff. But in the moment, I just saw these going around the room and I fell in love. The final thing I won was this complete Pizza Hut Garfield set, although the poster sadly didn't make it home.
Is there an on-off switch?
There's a switch, but that's not usually how alarms work.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you go. That's how that one works. And that's why it's rare.
Should have just left it beeping.
When something doesn't work, it becomes a collectible.
At the end of the day, the Garfield Gathering feels like an anomaly from the past that somehow survived by some unseen miracle. The first convention was held in 1999 in a collector's home before growing in size. You obtained tickets by purchasing them on a random website promoted exclusively by a Facebook page, and the community is tight-knit, with most members having known each other for decades. There's no app, no microtransactions, no ball pit. But the thing you have to keep in mind is the cost. When you combine the hotel rooms with the tickets for each banquet, you will easily spend $700 just by being present. That number can then double or quadruple as soon as you start buying collectibles. This is my main conclusion. If your love of Garfield is entirely ironic and you actually really hate him, the Garfield Gathering is not worth it. But if there's any part of you that actually smiles when you see this orange cat and likes collecting his merch, the experience is worth every penny and every second. So as I've covered the Garfield Gathering, I've had a lot of people ask how this convention actually works, so I figured I'd explain it all. The Garf Con is held every 2 years in a rotating list of cities, and the next Garf Fest will be held in Branson, Missouri in June 2026. The convention will be hosted at a select hotel with convention space, and you'll be asked to book rooms for the duration of the con. The actual event entry will be sold at nancyplushtoys.com, probably in January 2026. While you're visiting Nancy's website, consider picking up Loves Garfield, a book written by Kathy Cauthy, the Guinness-recognized biggest Garfield collector in the world. The book is a detailed guide to Garfield collecting, but also contains many anecdotes about the history of Garf Fest. I had an absolute blast at this year's con, and I totally recommend it. But do you want to know something strange? The more time I spent at that dusty old hotel, the more this wallpaper started to look funny.